back. Mr. George A.K. joins us this morning to continue our focus on this amendment. Morning, and thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
Well, yes, we've seen the perspective of a member of the House, Honorable Prt1, about this amendment. He says it was all in good faith, but do everybody doesn't see it like that, certainly. But what do you think?
Which aspect is done in good faith?
The immunity clause removal.
Well, with tremendous respect to the Honorable Prt1, I don't think it is entirely done in good faith.
Why?
Let me take you back to the battle of wills and the rivalry that has existed between the executive and the legislature. If you notice, before this time, there was a time the legislature was like trying to propose immunity for themselves. And of course, the whole country cried out. And I don't entirely believe that it is done in good faith. Again, when we look at the result, I noticed when you asked him, what was the intent of the legislator, in removing the immunity clause, and I don't think he came up with anything that is quite compelling to me. I want to believe that my own impression and my own opinion is that it wasn't necessary in the first instance. It was an exercise in futility. Why? Why would you remove that immunity clause? First and foremost, the reasoning, superficially of course, is that so that the executive can be up and doing with their job, so that we can also be able to prosecute them when they are, probably doing things that are fraudulent, now that we are immersed in fraud. Practicability. One, the nature of our criminal justice system is such that if, for instance, you take a governor to court and charge him for probably embezzlement or whatever, it's a criminal offense. And the procedure and the rules say that he must be present. An accused person must be present at his trial all through the time. In other words, he must be in court every day of the day. Oh, sure. Once the accused person is not in court, I mean, you can't continue. You just can't continue because there is nothing you can say behind him. He has to be attending his court trial. And in other words, we are not looking at a situation where a governor comes to court in the morning and probably waits till in the evening when probably his case is called up, assuming he doesn't have a senior advocate of Nigeria that will have his case called out of turn. Then he has to, I'm talking about distracting a governor. Again, look at the flip side of it. Criminal law does not run against time. That is to say, a crime is not time bound. That is, is not statute banned. You can prosecute a case that, I mean, a crime, an offense that was done in 1970 if you happen to apprehend the offender today. So, the question is, within the period that the person was governor or president, as it were, he can still be investigated, at least from the Supreme Court decision that was procured by Gani Fayemi, of blessed memory. So, in other words, you can investigate the person and then prosecute him when he is out of office. And the first question I was going to ask then was that out of the not less than 70 governors that have left office since we had this, since 1999, how many of them have gone to jail? I mean, not ask that question, how many of them have been prosecuted? A number of them have been prosecuted. But have we secured one single conviction? Not one governor is in jail today. Not one senator is in jail today. Not one legislator is in jail today. Not even a local government chairman is in jail. So why are we bothered about immunity?
If we can, there's a picture out there that, okay, these people amass wealth, so by the time they are leaving office, they still appear to be protected. Now, without the immunity clause, they know that they can be picked up even while they are sitting on that seat. Wouldn't that be a deterrent factor?
No. The point I'm making is that even when they are out of office, I mean, there's nothing preventing us from waiting for 4 years. And you pick the person up. What we are saying is that how judiciously, how committed are we with regard to prosecution of those people? Because if we were, you would have been able to answer that question. That at least we have been able to put 4 or 5 governors in jail today. None of them is there. Nobody Bado came out and said he had a dossier of about not less than 30 governors that have been indicted, investigated, and all of that. How many of them are in jail? So why are we bothered about frivolities?
I think in fairness...
It is a distraction as far as I'm concerned.
In fairness, I think you share the same viewpoint with Gbajabiamila, because he said he didn't vote for the removal. Well, so it looks like he's also on your own page. But he said the problem is if we decide to finally take it out, we'll be having problems with the way and manner with which some of these officers will be brought before the judge, as you rightly put it. But how come we still haven't been able to get this willpower to punish those who have offended the state when they leave office? Can that be put in the Constitution to the extent that, well, whether we like it or not is there, and we can actually call them to account when they finally leave office?
No, if anything, the laws are still there for you to be able to call them to account. As they walk around in the streets today, maybe have a way of finding themselves back in the Senate, and those who couldn't find themselves in the Senate are power brokers all living in Asokoro and Maitama and all of that. You can still prosecute them this morning, but we cannot. We don't do that. So that's what I'm saying. You are wasting legislative time doing immunity. At the end of the day, that's why I started by saying maybe it is still part of that battle of wills that they were having, with regard to rivalry. If we can't have immunity, then let's remove that of the executive. It doesn't add anything to us.
Should they have focused more on the laws establishing the agencies that are supposed to investigate this?
You see, if you strengthen those agencies, then we can begin to look forward to proper prosecution and conviction. Because what is important to us is that we secure conviction. It's not that such and such governor has been arraigned, before justice such and such person. So cameramen come there and it becomes news for that evening. At the end of the day, we give them bail and they start junketing all over. The next thing you do, you apply for their passport and then come with an application for medical permit and they go abroad. So they are like any other person.
When you say strengthening, what exactly do you mean? Are they not strong enough? Don't they have enough backing to carry on their jobs?
You see, one of it is prosecution. The prosecution can spoil a case. Prosecution can also ground a case. I mean, you saw the last issue that we had with the prosecution of murder charge against Mustafa. With all that happened at the lower court, that was like the difference between truth and fact. The truth probably may well be that Mustafa would have had a hand in that killing, but the fact did not ground that because the prosecution did not ground their case properly. And that was why when he got to the appeal level, the appeal court looked at it and said, you resolve this benefit of doubt in favor of the accused person, and he walked away. So in other words, prosecution, you must prosecute properly. And at the